Next, on our Capital Insights segment, we talk with Don Schaefer, Executive Vice President of the Midwest Truckers Association, as he talks about the need for more individuals to enter the trucking field, and he shares his thoughts as a longtime Springfield observer on the incoming Pritzker administration. This runs about 12 minutes. Let me just throw out a couple of issues and we can go through them. Yeah. One is, obviously the economy is doing better. So one, I'm kind of curious, what's the overall health of the trucking industry? And because you are Midwest truckers, you know other states, not just Illinois. Secondly, one of the issues, and I think across the board in every industry, is we have the retirement of the baby boomers. So a lot of times we don't have enough new people in the pipeline to replace those leaving. So I don't know how the trucking industry is matching that, which kind of has almost nothing to do directly with government. Is there any other big ask aside from motor fuel? Off camera, we had talked about when Blagojevich was in, he applied a tax that drove some 40,000 trucks out of the state of Illinois. So with those, I know that's somewhat a hodgepodge of issues, but let's kind of just, I think people don't want to wake up one day and go, well, you know, we got to wait a week to get something delivered that used to take a day because now there's just not enough truckers anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll start with the last thing. What we talked about was in the Blagojevich administration, or during the Blagojevich years, the General Assembly passed the governor's bill to impose what they called a commercial distribution fee, just a flat arbitrary tax on every truck that's licensed in the state of Illinois. That was up to $1,003 per truck on an annual basis. Well, that automatically, back in 2003, 2004, that shot 40,000 trucks, basically picked up and moved out of the state of Illinois. Companies picked up their operations, went to Indiana. Indiana was the biggest benefactor of Illinois' action. Most of those trucks did go to Indiana and are still there today. Those are trucks that never came back to Illinois. Illinois lost hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue because of that one action by the legislature. And so we came back a couple years later and tried to repeal it. We repealed part of it, but there's still a $400, just an arbitrary tax on trucks every year. Part of our negotiation is going to be, in any involvement in terms of talking about a motor fuel tax increase, is they can talk to us, but we got to get rid of this arbitrary tax on trucks first before we're going to come down and agree to anything. So we'll see where that goes.
And in Indiana, they have no tax, right? So it's $400 compared to nothing?
Well, that's just it. They have a motor fuel tax, which is comparable to Illinois, but they don't have this commercial distribution fee, which is a tax on top of everything else that you pay here in Illinois. So.
And how many trucks would an average trucker have? I mean, obviously, if they had 1,000 trucks, that's $400,000 more a year in Illinois. So
and you got to remember, some of those fleets were 1,000 and more. A lot of the major moving companies that were based in Illinois picked up and moved across the border to Indiana. And Indiana was the big, and Indiana did that. They say Illinois was the best thing that ever happened to Indiana.
Well, when it first came out, as you say, basically $1,000 a year. If you had 1,000 trucks, that's $1 million more a year coming out of your business. Sure. Or you save $1 million a year by just moving to Indiana.
And that's a no-brainer. I mean, and you know, we're an industry on wheels, so we can pick up and move wherever we have.
Yeah, you're not farmland, right?
No, we aren't. So it's not that difficult. So that's going to be an issue we need to deal with. We need to talk and get serious about this because you know, we're going to take a heavy bite no matter what happens on a motor fuel tax increase. So
on the number of truckers, I mean, the guys actually driving, or is there enough people out there, or?
No, I mean, the biggest issue for the industry right now is the number of trucks and the number of drivers. The economy's good. I mean, things are moving like crazy. You know, you drive down the highway any day and you're seeing Prime, Amazon Prime trucks. You know, you're seeing trucks everywhere going because of the fact the economy's good. People are buying services, and it's not just trucks carrying boxes. There's a lot of construction going on, so you'll see a lot of rock, sand, and gravel trucks. You see flatbed trucks hauling big pieces of equipment. You see, and not just on a long haul basis. You see it local, regional. It's the demand is there. There are numbers out there that say right now the industry could easily take another 50,000 drivers and put them to work. And the problem is because it is an aging population. Our problem is that the way the rules and the laws are written, you cannot, if you came out of high school and you wanted to drive a semi, well, you could drive within the state of Illinois, but you couldn't drive long haul. You couldn't go cross country. You had to be 21 to do it. So we lost a lot of these young people who maybe would get in the industry because they couldn't drive till they're 21, so that maybe they became an electrician, a plumber, or something like that. What we've been doing and recruiting are people in second careers, returning military, heavily recruited to get them in, early retirees from other jobs. These are people who are coming back, going to the community college driver training school, and getting the training, and they're going to work because people are looking for them.
In case someone wants to think about it as a second career or so, or first career, what would be representative of the kind of salary that a trucker would make?
Well, it depends on what they want to do. I mean, there are drivers, obviously the higher the pay, the tougher the job. People who want to haul hazardous material cross country are going to make big dollars. Husband and wife teams, are going to make the big dollars.
Big is, I mean, I've heard, I don't know if it's true, I've heard some people are making $100,000.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, there are people out there making $100,000. And, the good drivers, those are the good drivers, the ones that, they get built up to that, get their experience and get in, depending on where they're going and what they haul. The money is good, and that is an easily attainable salary.
I believe I'm right from statistics that the average American household's income is $56,000, to put that in some context.
And you do, and it pays very well. It provides for a family, and this is also a job you get without a college degree. And
the boss isn't watching over your shoulder, right?
Well, you know what? There's a lot of computers in those trucks now, and that means that someone is watching, and plus you've got the police out there. They're always watching.
Before we close out, you have been around the State House for decades. When did you actually?
1973, so it's been 45 years ago.
So you don't look it, but you're like one of the real old hands. But what are your thoughts in general coming out of the Rauner administration? We start the Pritzker administration, that era. Obviously now the Democrats have the entirety of all the state offices. They have control basically of all facets of state government. In general, what are your thoughts going forward here as we start the Pritzker administration?
Well, I think just watching some of the appointments that the administration has made, very positive. I mean, they've reached across the aisle, and in these positions that they've put people in so far, I don't think have been based on party, but have been based on the skills of the individuals. And we've seen, we got a new Department of Agriculture director who is a former legislator, who's also, also has a truck or two, but's a farmer. So, that's John Sullivan is I think, an outstanding pick for that job. Dave Harris picked for the Illinois Department of Revenue director.
A Republican.
He's a Republican, and he's been in the legislature. He's been director of, he was a state adjutant general, I think. So
the National Guard.
Yeah.
Twice in the legislature, before being the general and afterwards.
He served in both the House and the Senate. So he has that institutional knowledge, which is so important that maybe we didn't see as much of under the previous administration. So, and the good thing about it, I think, is that those of us who walk the aisles in the Capitol and spend a lot of time here, knowing some of these people who are coming into these jobs, whereas in the past they maybe were coming from out of state, we didn't know them, there's a little bit better feeling of familiarity, and a little bit more confidence that, hey, I know these guys, they can do the job. And so we're going to watch carefully. There's some, key agencies, of course, that we're going to watch to see who gets, appointments, Transportation, Environmental Protection Agency, these agencies that are key ones in any cabinet. And I think they're being careful about who they put in those jobs. So, we're optimistic like everybody else. It's a clean slate, and we do have issues out there, but we also, we hope that there's some compromise and the feeling that everyone can work together, and that the attitudes may be improving a little bit.
Let me just add my own comment and I'll get your reaction. It seems to me, and because you have more time than I do, it seems to me that the overall kind of almost unstated atmosphere here, or idea, is we are at the crossroads and we've run out of time to fix we can't play around anymore. So my thought is people are maybe more focused now than they ever were as far as we need to work together. Maybe we can play political games again in the future, but right now the house is on fire and we're all going to come burning down if we don't get things done.
And you can look back at past administrations. I can remember, and I've been a reporter. I've worked for constitutional officers. I've been a press secretary. I've been, a lobbyist. So
can't hold a job.
Yeah, I guess I've worn about every hat I could wear around here, and over the years. But I mean, the thing about it is that you look back on past administrations, and you can see where the failures and successes were, and you just hope they don't repeat it. We saw the Walker years, the confrontation that Dan Walker had with the General Assembly. We saw the same thing with the Runner administration and the confrontations there. Then we look back and
Blagojevich.
And Blagojevich, the same thing. And that was internal party strife too. But then we look back at the other years, how Jim Thompson was able to reach across the aisles, how George Ryan did the same thing, did a very good job of it. And
yeah, his problems were really unrelated with his performance. A lot of people thought with his background, he had many years in state government, so he knew the lay of the land. Sure. Former House Speaker, former Secretary of State. But he got a lot done. They passed capital bills and various other things.
Sure, and I can remember that. I remember when George Ryan called, during the times with the last gas tax increase, and he called up, and said, "Well, what do you think of this?" And I go, "Well, we don't like it." "Well, it's here anyway." So that's as far as the negotiation went. We just hope that we get our 2 cents worth in this time. So, but no, it's every time there's a change in administration, everyone kind of looks forward to seeing what will happen, and just hope that things. It has to improve. We're in a precarious situation here. And we're going to have some difficult times ahead. I'm glad I'm not a legislator who has to look at an income tax increase on top of everything else, because that's going to be something's going to be in the mix also there.
Well, we've probably gone already longer than what people can stand to listen to, but I hope that maybe something can be done. We have a taxation problem that I know Ralph Martiri, has long argued that we're taxing as if it's 1950s. I think we do need to have tax. Maybe an income tax is fine, but maybe we need to lower the property taxes. That's what's killing everybody.
Sure,
and
sure.
So we'll see what can be done. But Don Schaefer, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Glad to be here.